Welcome to our spotlight today with Dr. Priti Bhatia from India, and she will be co-founding the first ever Association of Interpreters in India. That's the plan, and she will tell us all about her journey, the market, and the project, of course. Priti, the floor is yours. So happy you are here.
Thank
Let us
you.
know
Thank you
about
so much
you.
for inviting me and having me here today.
That's so amazing. So let us know about yourself. So you are based in India. You are an interpreter. Maybe, yeah, just introduce yourself to start with.
Well, I am based in India. I've been here since I was almost at the end of high school. Before that, I was in Europe because my father was a Indian Foreign Service officer, and that's where I actually discovered interpretation. That's where my passion for this wonderful career actually started. To kind of long story short, I moved back to India to finish my high school studies. I stayed on to do my university and started my training in interpretation here in India. And then I took 1 year off and went off to the AZIT to do a 1 year training there. And then came back, got married, moved to Mumbai from New Delhi. Many years later, of course, I carried on with freelance interpretation. I am a freelance conference interpreter, and at some point got into academics. And I started because I was already a translator as well. So I started teaching theory of translation, a little bit of professional translation. I taught at the University of Mumbai, at Punjab University. Now I'm teaching at a university in Delhi called the Indira Gandhi National University. And about a couple of years earlier, I again got back into interpretation because I decided to do my PhD in French. And my topic was the market, well, not quite the market in French, it was called le métier d'interprète en Inde pendant les années 2000-2015, évolution, enjeux et formation. And this is from here actually that this particular idea of setting up this particular association took off, because it was while I was researching and I found a lot of problems here in India that we had already spoken about many times, and recently decided to do something about it instead of just talking about it blindly. So that's how the idea germinated, and that's how it actually took off. That's putting the whole thing in a nutshell.
Yeah, interesting. Let me actually ask a question from something you mentioned, ICIT in Paris. Is it the
Mm.
Institut Supérieur
Yes,
d'Interprétation?
yes, yes,
Wow,
yes.
interesting. This world is so small. I completed my Erasmus year at ICIT in Paris because French was my second language.
Right.
And yeah, I didn't even know Lavinia. Have you studied at ICIT? No, I don't think so. You came after you already had your education to Paris as well, right? If you're here, Lavinia, because Lavinia is based in Paris, a long time member here of our Terps Practice Network.
Yes, I am based in Paris, and no, I didn't finish my studies at ISIT. I studied in Italy, so I graduated in Italy and
Yeah, I
not
see.
at ISIT. And recently this year, I did some courses for the ASIT, which is not the same, but also an interpreter school.
I say again, sorry, what did you do? A course at, or you applied for a course at what?
No, I actually gave some courses about legal interpreting
Oh, I see. At
at
ESIT.
the yes, but not ESIT, but ESIT.
Oh, yeah, I see. What did you say, Pretty? ESIT or ESIT?
Yeah,
She said
actually, I got
ESIT.
into both, but I took
Ah,
ESIT and not
Yeah.
ISIT.
Ah, ESIT. So that's where I
ah.
gave
Yeah, yeah,
What
yeah,
does the E
yeah,
stand
yeah.
for? Economics? No, what is it? What is it?
No, it's
École
equals.
supérieure.
Ach so, Ecole. Ecole.
Yeah.
And
And
what's
the other
E?
one
Ah,
is
Institut. Ah, okay,
Institut. So I
okay.
actually
Institut
took
Ah,
peut-être.
both, but I chose is it the École. But I did only 1 year there, and then
mm-hmm.
came back to India.
I see. Okay, yeah. Ah,
I
okay. I
had
don't know.
already done 4 years earlier. No, I had done 3.5 years here, and then I did 1 year there.
I see. And what's the difference between the École and Institut? Do we
Um,
know?
I don't
I mean,
know.
I have no
I
idea
don't know
either.
because I didn't go to the institute, so
I think
I
I
only
just
went to
know
the
that
Ecole.
when I
I
was
don't know.
there, it was said that the ECIT was like one of those elite universities, but I don't know, Ecole might be also one of them. But
Ecole
I
is
found
one
it
of
was
the
very,
elites.
huh?
Elite ones very difficult to get into, but um, I was lucky, I guess.
Yeah. No,
I
I wanted
learned
to
a
say
lot.
actually,
I really
yeah.
learned a lot there.
But I found all of this is also just marketing, and it's elite or not elite. It's all BS.
They're all
Sorry,
the
but
same.
it's
No,
all.
no, they're all the same. They're all the
Yeah,
same.
exactly. It's all.
Yeah,
You also get such a good training at normal
yeah,
universities, like
yeah.
this elite thing.
Absolutely,
It's
absolutely,
super
absolutely.
overestimated, really. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
and you
Anyhow,
should.
okay.
You
Yeah,
really should. Because you can't just go to one school in order to get the good training. You need to get it everywhere, right?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. But okay, we're getting a bit off topic here, so that was nice little excursion to France.
Can I contribute?
Amini, yes, please. Yeah, Amani,
Yeah,
quickly.
sorry, my name is Amani. I know in French program, école and institute, there are two things different. Because école is mostly used for primary schools and by basic schools, and institute for secondary schools and high studies. That we call institute. For example, where I studied my secondary school, it was Institut Mwange. I completed there and I got my diploma there. And after I went to Institut Supérieur, the high school. Now it's relatively for a university, yeah, where I studied my other, other studies. I think that's the clarification in French program. Thank you.
Thank
There
you.
is one other clarification I'd like to give here. With the you look at the French, like schooling or education, higher education system, they have a lot of écoles supérieures in different fields, which are supposed to be the top. So the ESIT is also école supérieure, so it's also supposedly at the top.
Yeah, yeah, and it's university, right? So it's
It's
not like
university level.
from a school
Yes,
level. Yeah.
école, yeah, École Supérieure is a university and
Yeah.
Institut Supérieur also is a university.
Yes, they're
Yeah.
both university. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Well, okay, so back to our original topic, India. So, but yeah, we are a global community, so and this was very interesting. So, all
It
right,
is.
okay, so you get the idea of okay, maybe an association would be a good idea for India as well. Why or and what happened then or yeah.
You see, the thing is that while I was researching for my doctoral thesis, I discovered that almost all countries in the world have associations for interpreters to take care of, like they set guidelines, they have, various, they really sort of lay out a whole bunch of stuff. In India, this doesn't exist. There was somebody who tried to set up something called the Indian Translators Association, never did anything for interpreters, even though it was mentioned in their preamble somewhere, but nothing ever happened. And at some point, they just stopped. It's more or less defunct now. Even if they are doing anything, nobody knows anything about it. So I actually started, talking to some of my colleagues about 2 years ago. And a lot of them said, forget it, Preeti, it's not possible. So I said, why? So they said, because this market in this country is extremely chaotic, which I agree with, and it's just not possible to do it. Now, I know that there are many problems, I am aware of it. So we discussed it, and a lot of them, majority of them said, forget it, it's a waste of your time. I said, okay. Problem with me is that I don't quit. Once I get an idea into my head, I get an idea into my head. So I said, fine, you tried, you didn't succeed. You can't stop me from trying. So they all had a good laugh. Yeah, go ahead, do what you want. Over the past year and a half, I did find colleagues, not many, but I did find some who said, let's try. What do we have to lose? Worst comes to worst, we'll be no better off than what we are currently, right? Because we are facing tremendous problems in this country, whether it has to do with lack of awareness, with regard to what we do. A lot of people and majority of Indians say, translation, we can do it. Like, it's not translation. No, we can do it. Just pass it on. You have anything for translation, pass it on to me. I know the language. You see, the major problem here is that we are all multilingual. All of us speak a minimum of 3 languages. So it's difficult to deal with that. So what interpreters actually do is practically they have absolutely no idea. Second problem, our working conditions are practically non-existent except in 2 cities, which is New Delhi and Hyderabad, where, at least for simultaneous interpretation, we have booths, we have all the equipment. Elsewhere, like in Mumbai, I have worked for a couple of conferences where now they're beginning to say, okay, you need mobile booths. So, okay, very good. But the problem with mobile booths is they're mobile and they don't have any ventilation. So you have to keep the door open. You keep the door open, and it doesn't make any sense. All right. So how do you explain to them? I had gone for a conference in another city in India called Bhopal, and we asked them, "What about the booths?" They said, "What booths? What are you talking about?" So they really don't know, and this is really because they have no clue as to how we work and what exactly we do. Also, the remuneration factor. They want to pay us peanuts. So those of us who are trained, we don't accept peanuts. What happens is that the students who are coming out and who can't find any work say, we'll do it for peanuts. The problem is that they are inexperienced and they don't work with people who are experienced. So they think that they know everything and they're willing to do it for peanuts. And what they shell out or dish out is complete rubbish. But the other problem is that the listeners don't know, have a clue either. But they're very happy because it's happening simultaneously. They're very happy. Oh, very good. So, I mean, these are some of the problems that we want to deal with. The other one is contracts. We want to try to create a sort of a sample contract which our members will be able to use, which will then really, put down terms and conditions and say, this is it and this is it. And there are people who say, no, one person will work for like hours on end. And these youngsters are very happy. Oh, yeah, we can do it and all that, but they don't realize what they're actually doing. So we decided, some of us decided to get together and try to set up this association. We eventually, over a year and a half, we have not only finalized the name, which is the Interpreters Association of India, we've also finalized on our logo. We have also now working on the MOA. We are also at the same time, we have just started webinars to try and create awareness amongst not only interpreters, but students, professors, and the general public as to what interpretation is all about. It's not what they think it is. So, that is in a crux what we are trying to do and what are the problems that we're facing, why we're trying to do this.
Oh, yeah. Wow. Yeah, and especially, I mean, after you have been globally trained, let's say, we
Yeah.
just talked about ACID,
No,
and
no,
then
it's
seeing,
not just me,
yeah,
Sarah. There are a lot
yeah,
of
yeah,
my colleagues who also have gone abroad and trained not only in France, but also, I mean, there are some who've gone to the Azit as well, and there are others who've been to other, like countries like even Spain that I definitely know of, and probably others also, which I can't remember on the top of my head, but they have been abroad. They know, they have worked with interpreters abroad. We are really fully aware of what is needed. And we really feel bad
yeah,
as to why the quality of interpretation coming out of this country is, if you don't mind my saying,
yeah,
not really up to the mark. Particularly when we have interpretation services offered at our parliament. But there also I have met people, I mean, our MPs, members of parliament, some of whom are not very satisfied with the equality of interpretation that's coming out, and others who are. And the difference is that those who are not are the ones who have heard interpretation abroad at the UN because they've worked at some meetings there, they've heard it there. But on the other hand, the ones who are very happy are the ones who have never heard any good interpretation in their life. So they're very thrilled. So, it's a massive challenge
because
that
they
we
cannot
face on,
evaluate
on
it,
all
huh?
san
Mm,
on from all sides. This
yeah.
is what we are trying to, like deal with.
But it's
when
interesting
we
that those that get
started
also
as.
the untrained ones are often happy because something is happening simultaneously, but
Yeah,
then they cannot
yeah,
evaluate it, right? Yeah, but that's
because
what I
they
mean.
don't
Like, I
know.
just wanted to say,
Yeah,
like, then it's particularly frustrating because you know what professional interpreting looks like, and then I understand how frustrating it is then if if it doesn't happen and if just anybody says, oh, I can speak this language a bit, I can do it, let me do it. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
And then,
difficult.
if you land up and you say, look, the mic's not working, ask the speaker to speak clearly. Why? Because I need to hear why. And then what do you mean why? I can't hear. What will you hear? Why? It's like, it's
What?
really tough. It's really tough.
Oh,
So, the crux of the matter is actually the lack of awareness with regard to what we do and how we do it. And once they begin to understand, then it's like, oh, this is so difficult. So, okay.
yeah. Interesting, really interesting. Yeah, how to solve this? Yeah, and so how many colleagues are you now? And anybody else? If you have any questions, Rafaela, Lavenia, Judy, Armani, please. This is like just an interactive conversation with Pretty here,
Yeah, I
as
would
you can
love to
tell.
hear your input
Yes.
also, because you come from all over the world. And you also have a lot of experiences. You know how your associations work. I would love to learn from you and take it back to my colleagues and say, look, this is the way we should do it. And of course, if any of you would be interested in joining us at one of these webinars, I would be more than happy to have you.
Yeah, well, we have one colleague actually from Thailand who founded an association from scratch
Yeah,
for
yeah.
Southeast Asia as well. Unfortunately, she's not here. I think would be a good partner to talk to see, yeah, how
And
this
I
whole
am in touch
founding.
with the
Lily,
TIAT, I think they call, yes, the Translators and Interpreters Association of Thailand. I know the current
mm.
president, Pekon, pretty well. I know others because I had met them when I had gone to Bangkok to collect some of my data.
Oh, great. Okay. Yeah.
So
Okay.
I
Then
am in
maybe
touch
it's
with them.
yeah.
Then I'm in touch with they put me in touch with the Indonesians. So they're also like sent me a whole bunch of stuff which we looked at, and then we decided, okay, this is the way we want to go about it. So like I said, we'd be very happy to get any input because we really want to set up something which is good. One of the reasons that I actually thought of setting this up came to me long, long ago when I met an Algerian interpreter. I unfortunately don't remember his name, who told me that he had got together with some of his colleagues and set up the Association for Interpreters in Algeria. And it took him 10 years to do it. So I'm like, okay, it did take me 10 years. I don't care. I want to try to do it, to go as far as I can. As
Oh,
much
yeah,
as I
that's
can
a
do, I
good
will.
attitude already. So this is a good mindset. So no matter how long, because exactly, it's
Doesn't
still better
matter.
than not at all, right? Even if it takes this long, then it's there for the future to come. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. How
Yeah,
many colleagues
because
are you by now?
we also have subcommittees, and we have a core committee. So we have 15 of us in the core committee. We are only about 16 or 17 total as of now. It's taking us a little time because we don't want to, just take any Tom, Dick, and Harry. People, I mean, you'll find a lot of youngsters who come and say, oh, yeah, we are interpreters, we know so and so, so and so, so and so, but actually they know nothing. And they don't know those people. So we don't want them. So we're doing background checks on people who want to join. We are taking in people whom we know could be ex students because a lot of us have been teaching. I'm also teaching fundamentals of interpretation. I'm training on my own website. But like I said, they don't really feel the necessity to get trained. So until and unless I make them understand how important it is to get trained, I don't think it's going to go. We're not going to get too many people. But we've started these webinars, and we just started. In fact, the first one was on Saturday. And I used to say, if I can change the way even one person thinks about interpretation, I will think that my goal has been achieved. Managed to change during that webinar the way 35 people thought. So I'm feeling very good right now.
Great and good participation. So that's
Good
already good.
participation,
Yeah.
and the very fact that they understood that it's not that simple. In fact, that was one of the comments. After
Mhm.
seeing that, I feel it's not that simple. It scares me. So, yeah,
Good.
okay.
Yeah.
Good.
So yeah.
I'm happy to hear that because my contention is that these people, 35 people, know. Now they'll go
Mm.
out, and maybe even if they tell one person, one more person, it turns
Yes.
into 70.
Yeah.
So at least it's a start. And for me, that is the crux of the problem.
Yeah.
So that's what I am trying
Mhm.
to achieve through these webinars. And eventually, of course, we're also simultaneously working on creating this association. So I hope that we can legalize it soon. I really don't know. We'll see. India is a country which takes its time. It goes at turtle pace. Let it go at turtle pace. You get there somewhere at some point. It's okay.
Well, if
Yeah.
I may chime in,
Please, Lavinia.
because you were asking about other countries. So I
Yes.
guess in France, yes, we have organizations, but this does not prevent us from meeting the same situation in specifically court interpreting. And I don't know where to start my fight from because we are surrounded by many court interpreters who are not at all qualified, which I have nothing against because they can be self-made interpreter and work wonderfully. So I'm not uh, holding on to some type of diploma, but those interpreters, they're harming us because the bailiff, for instance, you go to the bailiff and ask them who is going to be my partner today because this is a whole day trial, so I guess I won't be on my own. And she looks at us in this way, as she said, but what partner are you talking about? Well, it's going to last a whole day. I don't know because you know your colleagues last week they did whole days on their own, so I don't understand what you're talking about. And so I appear as the weak one, and I talked with another interpreter who is rather high ranking in amongst the court interpreters of the court of Paris, and I don't know if she has a degree because I that's not a type of question I feel entitled to ask, but she told me, well, because we were talking about that, she told me, well, I've just done 2 weeks of interpreting for full days on my own, so I'm not dead yet. So I suppose if you really feel tired, you can talk with the bailiff on your account and ask for help. But because I wanted her to try and tell that to the bailiffs, or because she's highly placed, and so I wanted her to help me in this fight, and she really gaslighted me in a way. So I don't know how to cope with this situation. And although there are associations, but what can they do? When the bailiffs are not even informed of how we work, they think we're just tiny mice who spin the wheel without any effort. So they can't see why we would need to be two of us.
Yeah. Yeah.
But this is actually a good question that you asked. What can the association do? I mean, it is actually the association is the lobby of our interests, right? Of our industry's interests. And actually, this is sometimes what they do. They go to the politicians or, yeah, to the legal field. I don't also know who the contact person is. This is in the details, But basically, then they would kind of contact this party from an official point of view from the association would write to them and explaining the needs and maybe ask for a meeting to explain to them, how it actually works. It's like lobbying in politics, I think, like
Oh,
so this is why maybe it's
yeah.
good. You could maybe tell the French Association, and maybe it would be. I don't know whether there's a working group. In Germany there's always working groups or whatever,
Yeah.
and then somebody
Mhm.
takes it on and yeah, would write on behalf of the association or contact them on behalf of the
Oh, maybe,
association.
yeah.
That's
Because I've had also answers like, what do you think you are? Do you think you are at a congress or what?
yeah, but this is
Like
this is
that.
like what Priti said. It's like they still have a particular way of thinking that needs changing. No? That's what Priti said.
Yeah.
Like,
They need
they
to
don't get
change
it,
their minds.
and
Yes.
yeah, and
Yeah.
because if they haven't had
Uh,
those formal training, maybe either we don't know. But then maybe they really don't know, no? Like in like Priti's situation,
I
and they really
mean,
wonder why too. Maybe they
yeah.
really sometimes. There's the two things. Sometimes they genuinely don't get maybe that they need to, and then of course those that know, but I don't know, don't care. But then with them, you
Yeah.
cannot talk anyways.
And I also have another even more awful thing because I've been at a sort of, it was a sort of a congress, and it was at the exit. And there was, at the moment when the Q&A session began, there was one of us, colleagues from the back of the room. He asked about the partnering when there's a whole day trial. And you know what? Because there was a panel of judges on the floor there, and they were answering questions. So there were judges, prosecutors, and you know what they answered him? They said, "Well, the government has decided to cut the budget on interpreters, so I don't think that will be a subject. However, instead of focusing on the problem, we should focus on how we can manage with what we have." That's such
This
an
is all
awful
industries.
answer.
I think here we need to develop like thick skin, or it's always like there's a saying, an idiom like drilling into thick wooden boards or whatever. I don't know. Like I don't know the idiom in English. Need to look it up. Um, this is always the case. Like what you describe, it sounds actually normal. By now I'm like, yeah, okay, sounds normal. You always, yeah, Rafaela, yeah.
Yes, well, first of all, I'd like to say that Priti is very brave to do that and not wanting to give up. So, because I wouldn't be able to do that. So you start all over from, you can see that a lot of people were already saying, it's not going to work. I think that's the people who are saying that they actually accommodated, like they are already relaxed in their position. And they're probably, well, what I'm trying to say is that people, when they are still getting their money, they're probably doing the job, they're getting their money, they are okay with it, they're relaxed, so they think that they don't need the association. I think that when they start seeing troubles and they start seeing they're going to lose jobs, lose work, they probably will see the value of the association. And when Lavinia said that, I get what she says, because it's hard for you when you get to a job and you see other colleagues doing the completely opposite, doing wrong things, and you're the only one saying, no, it shouldn't be that. You're not brave enough to do that. I get that. But I think, my opinion, that having an association is good exactly for that situation. Because I think that the association will have, they will have the accredited bodies and the associations, they have listed the code of conduct. And that's for us, but also for the clients to know what we can do. That's why we all know how many interpreters there should be for certain jobs or for certain hours, or what can we do in terms of confidentiality, impartiality. So when we have all of that in a document, which will be the code of conduct, that's what we can use when we think that we are a minority in that situation. In that situation, I can see a colleague doing something wrong. If I say something opposite, look, it should be more than one interpreter for this job because it's too many hours. Then if the client says, oh, your colleague didn't do that, your colleague did the whole day, that's what you need. That's when you need the association, because the association will have the code of conduct, and then you say, look, in the association of the interpreters, the code of conduct says clearly this, and that. My colleague is the one who's not doing it right. So I think that you can base your argument on the documents that the association will have. So I think that having an association is a very is a necessity, really. So that's why I'm praising Priti here, because if India doesn't have that and you're doing that, I think it's great. And, yes. And at some point they will all see that that's the value of it.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Rafaela, for your kind words, and thank you so much, Lavinia, for your insight on this. But let me tell you that I did talk to some of those people who I know pretty well, who told me, not possible, forget it, we tried, we failed. When I spoke to them, I asked them, how did you go about it? I listened to them quietly. I didn't say anything. I said, thank you very much, but you can't stop me from trying. Put the phone down and sat down and thought to myself that the way they went about it was not the right way to do it. So I already had my idea is probably in my head because of this thesis that I had done. And we decided, when I spoke to those of my colleagues who agreed with me, to go about it in a different manner. And we find that we are, I think, on the right path. I hope that
Mhm.
we
Yeah,
are.
and you already have
At
the
least
right
we're getting
attitude. Yeah.
somewhere.
You have
We're
the right
getting
mindset
somewhere.
already. Yeah, because you say, okay, even if it takes 10 years, who
It's
cares? And it's
fine.
the right
It's
mindset
fine.
because then you don't stress. You have this goal, but not this pressure. It has to happen this year, and then you
No, it
burn out and
won't.
so on, and then you give up or become desperate because you will encounter these resistances that Lavinia you described. This will happen, yeah. But it's like it was on all professions. This was the case, ne? I don't know in the past miners or whatever, miners and when they started to the first trade unions when they occurred. I'm sure it took ages, until the trade unions were recognized and it was for the rights of the workers to improve the working conditions. And it's essentially this, ne? Two interpreters means it improves our working condition. And this is like similar, and it always takes ages and there is resistance, but you need to keep going and one day it will work. Yeah.
Yes, you're so
Yes,
right. You need to
hoping.
keep going. You need to keep going,
Yeah.
and you need to be a little bullheaded on this and say, I don't care what the others think. This is what I think. I know I'm right. I know I'm going on in the right path. And I also know I'm not alone. I have people who think like me. So, like minded people all going together. It's not just a lone voice. And the thing is that in this country, there are a lot of debates happening as to, with AI coming in. And we have the government has tried to encourage AI taking over because I think they are not too happy with the way interpreters are working at the moment. But what they don't realize that even this AI is not working
And
for
then,
many, many reasons. And the what I have been saying for a long time, particularly for the past 5 years or 4 years actually, is that the demand for interpretation in Indian languages from one Indian language to another Indian language is going to grow exponentially in the coming years, within the next 15 years, not even that long. So the need for trained people is essential, which is why I've been after my group saying, let's start these webinars. We need to get this started right now, which is why we started it on
Yeah, very
Saturday.
good. Feel free to post them in the Terps Practice Network as
Unfortunately, the
well.
first one, the recording didn't come out properly. We're having another one on the 2nd of August. So hopefully that recording will come out
Hmm.
properly, but I don't know how I'm going to post it out. So again, would love to have some input from all of you as to how on earth
Yeah,
we
feel
can
free to
post
post
them
it
out.
into the group on school. Yeah.
Thank you.
And
That would be nice. That would
mhm.
be
Betty,
nice.
Betty, if I could ask, like, how two questions really. One thing that unfortunately I think I missed. Um, in India, obviously, there must be courses for interpretation and translation.
No,
No, okay,
there
okay.
are no courses in only one university in the country actually teaches you practical interpretation. There is another one. I don't want to take its name because it's going to be gone in the public domain. They say we teach interpretation. I asked how because I had to do it for my thesis. Okay, so
Mm.
they didn't mind. What do they do? They take Danica Seleskovich's guide on how to train
Mm.
trainers and they say, learn it, spout it, that's your exam. And
Okay,
who is the exam written by? By non interpreters. Who
right.
is it evaluated by? Non interpreters who know nothing about interpretation. So they really have no clue as to what is happening. And even this one university which trains interpreters, now the number of centers, this is I'll tell you, it's called Jawaharlal Nehru University, where I studied in Delhi, in New Delhi. It has a school of languages, which was set up. One of the objectives was to train interpreters. This was set up by our first Prime Minister, Jawaharlal Nehru. Unfortunately, one of the centers has had to stop the training of interpreters because they can't find people. They can't
Okay.
find professional interpreters who are also into academics and who fulfill the criteria to be able to teach. So
Mm.
it is a major, major problem. The others that do it. Yes, they're doing it, but very, very few centers and very, very few languages. But the thing is that does it really cater to the demand? The demand is so much more. And in languages other than only those in which this training is being rendered. So
But
it's a
that is
massive,
that
massive problem.
that would be my other
Sorry.
question. That would be my other question. if there is need for interpreters, where does the client go to get the interpreters?
To a translation agency, because for the client there's no difference between translation and interpretation. Problem is,
Okay.
we know languages, pass it on to us, they don't know nothing. Even for translation, yes, they do teach translation courses at university level, but it is basically and only literary translation, because for them, when you here in India, when you learn a language, you only concentrate on literature. It has been a huge headache for me, where ever since I started teaching some 14 years ago, to make people understand that language, when you study a language, is just not just literature, there's a lot more to language, which is now I think what I'm succeeding in doing now with my current students. And it's like, oh, this also has to be studied. It's just, yeah, oh, we don't want to study literature, so you don't have to. Oh, okay. So mindset is now beginning to change, but it is a real struggle.
I think that what in this case you should look for is case studies to show potential clients, for example, companies or anything like that, that the companies that use interpretation in India, that get case studies together so they can see how the interpretation can go wrong and what is the consequence to them if they have any bad interpretation in some of them events. Because when they see how bad it can go if they don't have a qualified interpreter, they will think twice. And it gets in, and I know this would be the hardest part, to get the translation agencies involved in that. So they pass on the idea that the client should look for a qualified professional.
It's an interesting solution. Thank you very much. Problem is that very, very few really understand the need for good interpretation. I mean, I once worked for, I was contacted by some agency, and I was told you have to go to Goa of this conference. I went off there, and oh my God, it was such a nightmare, because this was not working, that was not working. They put us up in some, tiny little place, and I was yelling my head off. And they said, like, just stop yelling and just do it. So I said, look, I can't work in these conditions. I'm not working with you again. That's fine, no problem. You'll get somebody else. I said, who are you going to get? And they said, no, oh, I've done so many of them. Good luck to you. You see, I mean, and the real crux of the matter, Rafaela, is actually the lack of awareness with regard to what we do and how we do it. So, which is
and this lack of awareness for everyone, like potential interpreters and clients.
Yes. In fact, when you spoke of good interpretation, bad interpretation, we actually have an excellent video which is out on YouTube. It has to do with Rahul Gandhi. I don't know if you know him. He's one of our main political figures here in India. And he's the head of the opposition at the moment. And when he was campaigning, he tried using some interpreter. Obviously, some interpreter who has no clue about nothing, and it's on YouTube. And that fellow made such a hash of it that we actually see Rahul Gandhi turning towards the organizers and saying, can we change the translator? So I showed this to my students. I said, look, if this is what you want to do, is this the type of reaction you want? Then they sort of, oh, no, that's not what we.
But it also sounds like there's another project like creating a professional university course of interpreting.
Yes. In fact, that's one of the things that we're looking to do, is to start, training ourselves, because a lot of us are already into teaching and training. So that's what we want to do. But I think at the moment, we first need to set it up and then start doing it. We've already started getting a lot of inquiries as to where we can learn and how we can learn. And there is such a dearth of places that I think the opportunities in this country are enormous. But
you said, but it's the difficulty is finding trained trainers, trained lecturers.
We have trained trainers, Sarah. The problem is that people don't want to get trained.
Oh, I see.
You see, that I can't keep coming back to that. They just don't understand the need for it.
But wasn't your example earlier also that this course didn't happen because there were not enough lecturers, or did I misunderstand?
That too. We have very few.
For this, I just wanted to ask.
Especially in the languages for which it's going to be needed. There's
For this,
practically
maybe
nobody.
remote solution, a remote study
It has
course
to
might
be. It
be,
has to be remote.
yeah.
There is no
Mm.
option. There
Because
is
people
no
cannot
option.
move maybe places, and they are so big, and then it must be a remote course maybe, so that, yeah, you get enough trained lecturers, but they can be from anywhere. Yeah.
No,
But
in fact, I'm doing it remotely now. I'm training remotely my lectures on fundamentals of interpretation, where teach them the basics of consecutive, and just as like give them just an idea of what simultaneous is. It's all done remotely, but I have to admit they have picked up consecutive. That they
but
managed.
Sarah, that's what they don't see the point of doing the course, because if
No,
I don't know.
now that I've started showing those videos, now they do
Yes,
realize
but
the
that's what I'm saying. Like I understand that because you're saying we need to raise the awareness to the interpreters and everything. However, if you don't raise the awareness of the need of a good interpretation to the clients, to the public, to the companies, and or to the government. I don't know if the government. How does the government get away with it?
No, eventually we will have to take it to the various translation agencies, the various translation bureaus, and the government. That is already, I mean, we have thought of it, but like we said, we need something to give them. At the moment we don't have much apart from our logo and this. We have to first legalize this, which we haven't yet been able to do, because we still, in order to legalize it, we need to have the MOA ready. Now the MOA, the draft, we finally yesterday, after struggling with it for, I don't know, about 6 months, we finally managed to get one draft ready. So I need to put it in front of the core committee, get them to come up with their review. So it'll take a little time, but like I said, these things take time. Particularly in this country, everything takes a lot longer. It's okay.
What is MOA? You mean like the articles of the association?
The memorandum of articles for the association.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then to make it official, legal,
Then we need to
legally.
legalize it, notarize it. Then we need to, register it. So it's big time consuming matter in this country, I must admit.
No, I think
It's
everywhere.
okay.
I think it doesn't sound different. To founding
Bureaucracy.
a club in Germany, yeah. You need like 7 people, and to found an association, and yeah. Those legal requirements.
Yeah.
I think that's when the clients start seeing that the problems they can have with the bad interpretation or with the bad translation, they will have to change.
Yeah.
And and then when they do that, they will have to change. They start going looking for qualified interpreters and translators. And then the people today, that are today saying to you, "You're crazy. You don't need to do that." They are the ones that are going to lose work. They will have to change their minds as well.
Yes, we'll have to. I don't think we have a choice, but we are trying. In fact, I had invited a lot of people to this webinar we had. Unfortunately, I'm telling you, we had too many glitches that day. So I think some of them, didn't get the link. Some of them were not there. But we intend to reach out to all these people and explain to them that, look, this is what we're doing, and this is why it has to be done. So, like I said, time here in this case is not of the essence.
Especially if it's about raising awareness, this by nature already so takes time. So again, like, keep your mindset. This is so good. So keep doing it. And
thank you.
Already, like also for Lavinia maybe as well, it's about maybe not expecting this other person to not object, maybe already expect these objections, because then it's easier to cope with, especially if you're in this environment, you in your situation, Priti or Lavinia, in like court interpreting in France, it's like maybe it's better to have the mindset like to already expect difficulties, because there are those are not maybe conference trained, interpreters. And then I will expect these objections, but I still talk, because if there will be one person, like Priti said, in 6 months or whatever, that understands me, that I change the mindset, then it's already, I'm getting somewhere. So maybe to make it easier for yourself, right? To deal with this kind of resistance, because this will happen, yeah.
Yes, unless problem is that even meanwhile I look like the snobbish one. Somebody told me, stop talking about conference interpreting. It's not the same thing. We're in court. Where do you think you are? And things like that. And
But
There's
this is
no
what
way I can
Rafaela
try.
said. This is what Rafaela said. You could actually
Yeah.
check whether your association has something about court interpreting. And then you could say, hey, but look, the
Hmm.
association says that to work professionally and provide quality and blah, 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 in court interpreting, this is required. These are the working conditions. So if the
Hmm.
association, they probably have something like this, you
But
know.
since I don't know how it is in France, but I know for the court interpreting, you would, if there's a full day interpreting, you would still be by yourself. But obviously there you'll be only with one person. If there's more than one party or there's a witness and a defendant, each one will have their own interpreters. I wouldn't have to do for everybody. I will be dealing only with one. However, if the hearings for the whole day, I will still be only by myself with that person. So I don't know if in Paris, if the hearings for the whole day, they will have to alternate. I don't know how it works.
Well, normally, yes, the bailiff usually they count the number of interpreters based on the number of people who need translation, which is absolutely wrong because if they put one interpreter for each party, it means that each of those interpreters will need to do exactly the same job for the whole day without any breaks. So this is completely wrong. And also, the interpreter is supposed to be super partes. He's supposed to be really neutral. So why do they need to have two separate interpreters? Because anyway, the interpreter is a neutral party, and he's translating for everybody the same thing. So yes, you also raised another question which the bailiff don't know because they so many times they told me yes, but it's only one person who needs translation. Why do we need several interpreters? Yeah, because it's going to last all day.
Maybe you could be the active member in the French Association to write a paper for the working conditions in
I can
court
try to,
interpreting.
yeah, I
Yeah.
can try to write a paper and try to send it to the to one official association,
Yeah, on
but
behalf of the association, then it's already more
is
power, then more weight.
is the court going to take the association into account or into consideration? We don't know
And
because
then
they
in the,
may
I mean,
say it's
in
not
the
the
long
same.
run, it could even lead to
Yeah.
maybe them only hiring interpreters that are in this association or whatever, you know. So you could also like imagine the
Mhm.
positive sides of this. But again, it probably will take a few
Yeah.
years. So
Yes, and it's not likely to happen because
yeah.
we are there's in court there's unqualified, untrained interpreter working, and then there are the interpreters like me who are on the list of sworn experts, so certified experts, and normally courts and police stations they're supposed to call in priority the interpreters who are on the list of sworn interpreters, which is there's no actual check on the competence or on the skills of those interpreters because all they ask us to do is give the diploma, justification of residency, and some things like that, and you send the file and you see if you get approved. So it's very easy. There's no actual test, but they don't do it. They don't do it because they just keep calling the interpreters they are in the habit of calling, and they
But
just have
here's
their
the work
own.
needs to go on then. It's just like
Yeah.
similar with Priti. It's like then again, like or the mindset, like don't expect that just because this should be like this, that it's going to happen like this because they did it differently before. And there are always those people that continue the old way and so on. So it's again like drilling into thick boards, continue, and then keep pointing it out that no, you don't take your regular interpreter, take it from this list or whatever. So it's just a continuous work, and it is a nuisance, yes, but this is how this kind of, it's also like politics, no, I guess, work. And it's
Yes,
again
it's
about your
very.
mindset to not give up and
And
to,
also, I won't get
yeah.
calls. No, I will no longer get calls if I become too much of a disturbing element because I've got against me. I've got the vice secretary of the Association of the Court Experts.
But back to the point
She,
of the association here, it's also whether
yeah,
an
yeah.
association can help
There
you.
is a court. There
Yeah.
is a court expert association, but they do nothing because they are in the belief that I don't know. Maybe court interpretation is not like conference interpreting, so they do nothing for us. They think that we just have to soldier on and keep working like that.
What do you mean, Association for Interpreters for the court? Or?
The certified court interpreters,
Oh, yeah. Well,
they've
maybe,
got an
it's all
association.
voluntary work, as we know. So maybe they need a member like you who goes out there for the rights and wants to improve something, And then you will like pretty find one person that's like-minded in the association, then another one. And yeah, it is slow,
Well,
but yeah,
I'm
it's
not
better than
sure I
nothing.
want to, yeah, but I'm not sure I want to get involved with those people because, I spoke with one who is involved with those people, and she is a conference interpreter, and she thought exactly like me. And I asked her, but why doesn't your association, because she's in the board, why doesn't your association do anything? And she said, well, because of the chairwoman and her vice chairwoman, because they think that everything is fine like this because they're not properly trained interpreters. So I don't want to put myself in conflict with them because it's useless because they are the boss and not me. And all I would gain is that I would no longer get assignments because I would be a nuisance problem. So they would do whatever they can to put me as far as possible from them.
May I ask a question, Lavinia? How do you
Yes.
get assignments? Does it come through the association?
So it can come. So normally it's the bailiffs themselves who decide who to call, but this association they founded a sort of how can I say, a phone line which is held by the vice president, the vice chairman,
Oh.
and this phone line is to avoid agencies from putting their foot through the door because the agencies they pay the interpreters mere peanuts, no, half a peanut because we get paid a peanut, and and the agencies they take half the peanut from us and pay and pay us half a peanut. So we want to avoid agencies from getting into contact with bailiffs and to fight for this. This they did a very good thing. They put up this phone number, so the bailiff all they have to do they call this phone number and the association answers and okay, we look for an English interpreter for such and such day. Okay, so these are the two main channels, either the bailiff themselves or the association who calls us. So I need to keep them to stay nice to them, to the association and also to the bailiffs, because if I start complaining that I need a second interpreter and things, the bailiffs, who do you think they're going to call? They're going to call the other interpreter who never asked for anything and who doesn't make a fuss. They will call the other one because no one complains ever against interpreters because the defendant they do not dare. And also I had a civil party who had an abysmal interpreter, and I told her, why don't you go to the bailiff and tell them? And she said, no, 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 no. Oh no, come on, I don't want to. So no one
Look,
complains about
yeah.
bad interpreters.
I want to give you a good positive example about also changes in the court interpreting,
Oh,
thanks
great.
to associations, because actually in Germany things have improved. They're still not perfect. So also like Pretty, you see once you have founded an association, there are still always obstacles. But still, this is no reason to not found an association. The same reason why
I
it
don't know,
shouldn't be a
yeah.
reason to not keep fighting, even though there are those fears. And of course, there's individual fears of the individual, like, oh, then I won't be booked anymore. That's why I won't fight. But sometimes it's about, okay, do you think about yourself or the bigger picture? But my example, so in Germany also legal interpreting is very poorly, or has been used to be very poorly paid. It's also why, for example, I didn't prolong my status of being sworn because I was like, what's the point? I don't want to even work in legal interpreting, but it has improved so that now there is like a law. It's called JEVG, if you also want to look it up. It's of course a German abbreviation, JEVG. And this is like, what is it called? Like a tariffs plan. Like according to this, they have to pay the interpreter. So now, for example, also, I don't know, a certain amount of time for traveling there, because often the issue was also you go there, have 1 hour, or maybe even for 30 minutes, you go back, but you only get paid for 30 minutes. but your travel time is maybe 45 minutes or whatever, So now they account, for example, also some travel time, and at least you have to be paid for
Yes.
2 hours, even if it's just 30 minutes, So those
Yes.
kind of things, and this is happening now, and they have improved it. And just recently, somebody told me that then last year or this year, so very recently, they've even increased this fee now, and now that it must be 2 hour minimum pay and so on. So something is happening
You can
thanks to
dream
the
about it here.
association. Yeah. Hmm?
Yeah. Sometimes we travel an hour and a half for an hour, and then they will write just the hour and minute and second we arrived, and the hour, minute, and second that the hearing stopped. Yes.
Yeah, but this is thanks to the association that it has improved because they lobbied, they did some lobby work. So somebody, a group from the association must have talked to the relevant people, in the politics or legal sphere, and they have come to this agreement. So, and now it's in all the official papers, by the association and so on, this list of what you can charge and so on. So that's a positive example. So it's really worth it. Let's keep fighting, but of course it always needs people that go into the fight, like Priti in India now. So
Who
that's
doesn't
great.
want to give up?
Yeah,
But no, it was really interesting, Sarah, to hear about this from all of you, and particularly, about the remuneration, how much, we all seem to be facing the same problems. But what really interested me, Sarah, was the fact that you said that your association had, come out with all this and, given it to the government, and it's all done. I know we need to look at this as well, but like I said, first things first, little steps at baby steps at a time is what
absolutely.
we're
That's the
looking
right
at. So
mindset. Yeah,
we'll get there, and if I need more advice, I will definitely come back to all of you, that's for sure. Would
absolutely.
love
Yeah,
it.
you're totally
Love it.
invited to participate in our meetings and to
Yeah,
post
I
into the
will.
group your meetings when you meet and so on.
We definitely
Absolutely.
would love to have you all. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
wonderful. And I also see we're at the top of the hour. So any final last question to Priti? And also you sounded like you're wrapping up Priti, so great. So perfect timing. So
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. I
no,
was
no,
just
it's like
enjoying
like
it so
perfect.
well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, already thanking and so on. This is cool. Okay, yeah, no, absolutely. But yeah, any last question or comment for Priti? Anything?
Any advice?
Yeah. Or
No,
also maybe
just
yeah,
really good luck with everything.
yeah,
Because I know it will be long, but I
yeah.
can see that from you that you have to drive, and that for this kind of thing to work, to be successful, need someone like you.
Oh,
Yeah.
sweet. That's really kind of you. Thank you for
Oh,
those kind words,
I
really.
agree. I
Really.
agree.
Really.
absolutely.
It's
And maybe
it's going
also
to be
I
an
just
uphill
yeah.
task, but it has to be done. Somebody has to do it.
Yeah, just one last thought without opening a whole other conversation, but maybe also again for the court interpreting, maybe also we conference interpreters can kind of adapt a bit and open up that it doesn't have to be maybe two interpreters alternating or whatever. If it's not a conference, it is a different setup and so on. So, but two interpreters could also mean if it's all day Lavinia, for example, that one does half day, the other one does the second half of the day or something like just for us also to think out the box and not also be the same, like be so rigid in our rules, but maybe also see, okay, maybe the rules we cannot totally transfer them one to one, but still, how can we adapt it? So just this also
Mm.
just came to mind. So
Yes and no. Yes and no,
yeah,
because course interpreting is it is exactly like conference interpreting, only twice more difficult because you are there, you don't have any device whatsoever to listen. You have to listen with your bare ears to a room where the judge is like 5 meters away and he's mumbling, maybe without his microphone because it was hindering him with his computer that he put in lieu of the microphone, and you have to perform simultaneous translation for somebody who is on the other side of the glass there in the dock, and you have the foldable seat between you and the glass, and you have to be bent like that for hours and hours on end because you have to whisper the translation to that person, and all the while trying to listen very hard. And this is simultaneous translation but to the extreme. So I really don't think it is
you could write a book
feasible
about it. Sounds so
today.
exciting. You should
Yeah.
really write a paper
May,
for the association about it or something. Like, yeah.
before you close this, may I share a small story? Okay, I think Lavinia will definitely appreciate it because it's very similar to the working conditions she just described. I was in this, I mentioned this earlier. I was working in this for this conference in this little city in India, and we were put in. There were no booths. We were told simultaneous. We were given headphones and given a mic and say, "Speak." He said, "Speak, but to whom and where and how? How am I going to listen? Because there's such a racket. Everyone's speaking." Not only that, the windows were open. The hall was on the ground floor. The windows were open. It was not an air conditioned room. And to make matters worse, not only could you hear all the traffic with all the horns blowing, but also at some point during these sessions, there was a bridal procession that decided to like pass by. I don't know if you are aware, but Indian weddings are very noisy. You had all the drums beating, all the songs, and very loud right outside the window. On top of it, to make matters worse, the speakers were not bothered with mics, and one of us was interpreting, the other was running. "Please give the mic to so and so. Please give the mic to so and so." It was chaotic. It was absolutely chaotic. So I do understand 100%, Lavinia, what you're going through. It is not easy, and it takes a toll not only on physical health but also mental health. That's for sure.
Yes, and most of my
Great story.
colleagues find this normal. They find those conditions perfectly normal, and they say, "Yes, I know, but it's not a problem." So I'm fighting against no one on my own.
Yeah, it's awareness,
You
like
know,
Priti
you,
actually, it's awareness of interpreters themselves.
Yeah, I have worked with somebody who used to say, and I'm saying used to say, all right, "Oh, no, no problem, I can do it, I can do it, and I can work for like 4 hours at a stretch." And it's like, "Good luck to you." That was like maybe 10, 15, 20 years ago. And today she says, "Can't I get a headache?" So I don't know whether it's anything to do with age or whether she has, learned over a period of time what interpretation actually
She became
involves. Could
wiser.
be, huh?
She became wiser,
She became wiser, or
and
she
she
just
knows what
Yeah.
she
matured,
wants to do.
probably.
And I looked up my idiom. There is no idiom translation. See, talking about interpreting here for drilling into thick wooden boards because this just says to have a tedious task ahead. No, but I like the idiom because there you understand the idea. No? It's a thick wooden board. You drill, and it takes ages. And it takes ages. Maybe for a while you don't get any further at all. You are stuck. But then you get a bit further, and then you're stuck again. So I think it's a nice idiom, and this is what it totally sounds like for you, Priti, and for all of our associations actually,
I
and the
have
legal
a Latin saying for
interpreting.
that.
Yeah, yeah. What is it?
In Latin, they say "gutta cavat lapidem," which means the drop ends up, how can I say, ends up perforating the stone.
Oh
The,
yeah.
Ah,
the water drop
Hmm.
ends up going through the stone.
Yes, yeah. It takes ages, but it does something. It still does something. Yeah, absolutely.
In Brazilian Portuguese, we have an idiom for that. And I won't say it because it won't make any sense anymore. But because it's the same meaning of what you said,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
drop on the the
This is
second, but
yeah, that's exact same in German as well with the drop on the stone. Yeah, yeah, same. Yeah,
yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. So I actually have a job in 25 minutes. So and we're over the hour now. So super great to listen to you, Priti, and thanks everyone as well for participating so actively, Rafaela, Lavinia, and Judy. I hope it was interesting to you too. And all
Yes, thank
right,
you.
yeah,
thank you.
great
Thank
that
you for
you're here.
having me here. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Look
Priti, let's
forward
stay in
to
touch
keeping in
and
touch.
yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
Yes.
And see you next week again, everyone, on Wednesday again. Bye
Thank
bye.
you. Bye.
Bye.